Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. I guess whatever time it is for you. Good evening, whatever. It's around 5 a.m. and I'm pretty tired after I finished two papers tonight. But I have a flight in about 4 hours or so. So I thought it'd be a perfect time for me to get this video out bright and early, as I did have time somehow to do some research on a play for Thursday, April 25th, and with that being said, we will recap what happened yesterday really quickly. We did not give out a play of the day, but we had a bunch of leans, and pretty much all of them won, actually. And I had some personal plays which won, which is kind of a shame because it seems I hate it when that works out that way. When you're in a little bit of a struggle, you play some stuff on your own, you end up winning, but none of you end up getting to reap the benefits of that. And for that, I apologize. But either way, hopefully, it's a good sign of things to come as we look to bounce back with a win today. But for yesterday, between Houston and Utah, that game, we did lean a little bit to the over there. That ended up losing, but we did say that we thought Utah would cover. Utah ended up covering. We thought the Clippers would cover. They ended up winning the game outright in a shocking upset. In terms of the plus 15, in terms of the over-under at 233, recommended the under. That game went way over. But in terms of hockey, we ended up getting it right, as we said that Carolina would probably be able to win this game in Game 7. It just seemed like a game that Washington historically has always choked, and I thought that Carolina would be able to get the job done in this game. So, with that being said, it's time to look at a play today, and we are going to be looking at the only NBA game that is on this Thursday between the Denver Nuggets and the San Antonio Spurs. However, we are not going to be taking the full game. We are actually going to be looking at a quarter angle, which I see, and we're going to be taking the San Antonio Spurs first quarter -1.5, which is available at 5 dimes at -110. Just a quick recap of the series itself. Denver is currently up 3-2 in the series after winning the last 2 games. However, in those 5 games, the Spurs have been winning have won the first quarter in 4 of the first 5 games this series. It's also worth mentioning the Spurs are tied for 9th in first quarter points per game at home with 29, where Denver is 14th in first quarter points per game on the road with 27.7. San Antonio is also has the 3rd highest first quarter margin in the entire league at home with a plus 3.2 margin, where Denver has a first quarter margin on the road of -0.1. And for me, since this is a must-win game for San Antonio, I expect San Antonio to come out extremely focused in this game. And now I know some of you might ask, well, if you like San Antonio in the first quarter, why don't I like them in the full game? And the answer is that Denver is the significantly more talented team. And after a very slow start for the first, I'd say, 6 quarters of the series, Denver has ramped it up a notch. However, San Antonio has still and always will be a fantastic team at home. And San Antonio has done a great job of coming out, trying to punch Denver in the mouth in the first quarter of these games. And I think that in an elimination game at home in San Antonio, I would not be surprised to see San Antonio come out extremely focused, find some veteran leadership with DeRozan and Aldridge, and I would not be surprised to see the Spurs winning by a decent margin after the first quarter. And I simply think that 1.5 points is not a big enough spread for this first quarter. I expect San Antonio to be up by around 3 or 4 in the first quarter, and I think that San Antonio will be able to get the job done in the first quarter as well as the entire game. Entire game's more of a lean because Denver has the talent to make some halftime adjustments and to blow it open potentially. But I do think the Spurs will come out guns a-blazing, so to speak, as they will be able to cover this first quarter spread of 1.5. Other than that, though, we will go over some of the NHL games for tomorrow as the second round finally gets underway after all those Game 7s are finally in the books, with all of them being extremely entertaining. But on Thursday, the early game will be between the Columbus Blue Jackets, who have had about a week and a half off after sweeping the President's Trophy winners in the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round, or against the Boston Bruins in Boston after Boston ended up beating Toronto in a home Game 7. Boston's the huge favorite here in this game. Started at -157, give or take, up to -160 at Bovada, mostly bet down to -150 in this game. Overall, I will lean to the over, and I will lean to Columbus in this game. I don't know about you, but when I saw Boston against Toronto in that Game 7, I wasn't really that impressed. I just felt like both teams were very sloppy with the puck and with turning it over. And I thought that Boston was very fortunate that Toronto turned the puck over twice behind their own net in the first period, which led to 2 early goals for the Boston Bruins, which they ended up coasting to the finish line. Overall, I think Boston's a very good team, but I think Columbus, based on what I saw, if you didn't watch that series against Tampa, they manhandled them. I think Columbus is the most underrated team left in the entire NHL playoffs, and I think that Columbus will be able to come out early in game 1 and to potentially get this game in the books with a road victory. So I will be taking Columbus, not to mention the fact that Boston is going to be relatively tired following in game 7, where Columbus has had a week off to game plan for the Bruins, and I think that Columbus will be able to get the job done in this game. And I also lean to the over 5.5. I can see Columbus winning the game somewhere in the realm of 4-2, but I will lean to Columbus. And in this game, and arguably one of the most boring NHL playoff series in terms of matchups, you have the Dallas Stars versus the St. Louis Blues, where every game will probably be first team to 2 goals wins, as both teams love to play quality defense, find good goalkeeping, and have inconsistent offenses, to say the least. Based on that, St. Louis is currently the favorite. It opened up at minus 153. Now it's at minus 150 or minus 155, depending on where you shop. And the total is at a flat 5. In terms of this game, I have to lean to the under 5. I know it's a very low total in hockey. I know the odds are you're probably going to push it, but I don't really see how this game gets over 5. I mean, you might have some empty netters, which is always an issue. First period under is a good bet. I know that it's currently at minus 150 towards the under. I don't see how that first period ends up going over 1.5. I expect this game to be low scoring. I think this game will end up at 3-2 max. I personally think this game will end up at 2-1 for Dallas. And if you want a little extra payday, consider looking into will this game go to overtime, and pretty much bet it every game of the series. They're not going to be enough goals, and I simply think that you will have a decent amount of overtime games in the series when neither team are able to actually put the puck in the net on a consistent basis. So I will lean to Dallas in a small upset in game 1, but I will lean primarily to the under. But the play of the day here for Thursday, April 25th, will be the San Antonio Spurs minus 1.5 points in the first quarter. But that's going to do it for this installment of Scott's Selections here on April 25th. And I got a flight to catch in about 5 hours, and I will try to get some sleep as it is 5 a.m. So with that being said, good luck to all of you and your expected bets on this Thursday, and I will be able to provide you with betting picks and a daily show every single day, even when I am going to be out of town for the weekend. So don't you worry there. I have you covered. But good luck to all of you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.